Hi, my name is Andris and I'm a professional indie game developer from Hungary. I learned programming in a technical school for 2 years and then I even went to study software engineering in a university. But after a few years I dropped out. So as you can see, I'm totally normal. Some would even say that I'm average. And in this video I will tell you how I became a game developer. Truth be told, nobody became a super chat game god. I was born as such. I came out of the womb with a PlayStation 1 GameDev kit in my tiny, bloody GameDev prodigy hands. And I clearly remember that I weighed only 2.5 kilograms, but the 3 cards and the 5 kilograms CD-ROM simulator felt extremely lightweight and modern. So modern, in fact, that they wouldn't be invented for another 6 years. I'm sure you realize how surprised my parents were seeing all that, as Nintendo seemed to be a way safer choice in their eyes. So much so that my mother started to regret having me. But it didn't matter, because I was a super Chad GameDev god, and I preferred beer over milk anyways. When I was 5, I knew that education is very important. So I always said to my art students that the best way to get better in drawing is by making a lot of sketches every day. And that's what I've done with games. I made between 10 and 20 AAA games every morning before giving my lectures. Of course, none of them were my one true masterpiece, just mind-blowing. So I've sent them to Nintendo, as I thought maybe they could learn something from them, but oh boy, was I wrong. A decade later, I realized that they defied my work and released it as a lesser-known franchise called Final Fantasy. And then I saw their sales figures and I was shocked. They could have earned so much more. I was so disappointed that I had to go live in outer space just to get over it. Luckily, I had a spaceship because I love spaceships, but it's still really hard for me to talk about this because I had to see a psychologist every Monday and tell him all the details regarding my nightmares about those shiny little boxes giving random rewards which destroy actual gameplay and force the player into some sort of brainless pay-to-win grind, wasting their lives and still paying for unfinished garbage. I traumatized my doctor too. He even changed his career and went to work for a loved and respected company that had just been renamed EA Games. But don't worry, folks. That was just a minor setback. I've learned my lesson. Big studios are amateurs and they don't care about the games. That was when I decided to be a super chat indie game dev god. And I went on creating some of the most impressive games in history. For a brief period of time, maybe for like 100 years, I was working on a game that was a strategy MMO. And it was so dangerously promising that I had to cancel it. I just had to accept that the world is still not ready to grind for kibble in the ultimate war between Garfield, Lassie and Stuart Little, aka Animal Dominion. Yes, you can take my word for it. This game was nothing less than revolutionary. It was as incredible as the original Final Fantasy series multiplied by 2190.34667. You don't believe me? You don't? Then just for a second, imagine that. Imagine a world in which I released this game and everybody wanted to play it. every single one of us. This means thousands of times more computers, thousands of times more electricity consumption, people abandoning their jobs, abandoning their families, abandoning everything, leading to endless suffering and humanity drowning in a blind euphoric ecstasy? Rendering a planet dead? I'm just too sane and responsible to release a game like that with that kind of potential and consequences. Even if I have a spaceship, I love spaceships, a GameDev god has to think about the future of his player base, mankind. So after learning from this, in 2017, I started working on a grand strategy game about the computer revolution. It's called Computer Tycoon, and it's like GameDev Tycoon meets Europe Universalis and Civilization. Now, this game is for nerds, just like myself. So I felt like the world and its people's well-being is safe this time. Speaking of well-being, after I started working on Computer Tycoon, I unintentionally invented a new fitness program, thanks to my excellent work-life balance. So, if you are interested in losing weight in a really simple and healthy way, then here are my pro tips for you. Eat less, move more, or just take your shot in the dark and risk all your life savings on a single idea as a solo indie game developer. In just the 6 months it took me to release Computer Tycoon into early access, I was able to lose all the unnecessary muscle and flesh I had. And I'm really happy about that and my success. But because Computer Tycoon is also getting dangerously promising, I have to constantly update its scope by all the feedback I get from my lovely community and followers in the hopes of making it worse. And since then, still a lot has happened, but I will save those stories for another time. I think that was enough to show you why I'm a super Chad indie game dev god and why you are just an aspiring beta. Also, I must note that everything I said is the truth and only the truth. I'd never lie to you and I'm dead serious. I hope that you learned a lot of useful things. But if not, then don't forget to subscribe or I will send Google a letter with my latest nightmares about YouTube. Oh, are you still here? Good boy, good boy. Always wait until the end, because that's when I tell you secrets. Also, I'd never assume that you have a life or something. So, just come here. Every day feels like Friday. When you are unemployed,